The Ryback Show starts now. Welcome to the Ryback Show Friday Live. I am the big guy, Ryback. Thank you for joining me. Good to see all of you streaming on Instagram as well. The big guy, Ryback 22. We're still in jail on TikTok while it's being reviewed. The review is taking as long as the prison sentence. So we'll see what happens with all of that, which is there were no community guidelines violated. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And we'll be able to stream live from that once again very soon. I think the 21st is when we're out of TikTok jail. Unless the review, the appeal is reversed by the judge TikTok, whoever that judge may be. Ryback TV, YouTube, Ryback Rules on Twitch. We're over on Periscope at Ryback on Twitter right now. Good to see all of my mi amigos. Been a great day, a busy day, but a great day. And nice little cardio session in. I got to go do some laps in the pool right after this, and then go get cleaned up and wind down into the night. But a great day of scar tissue breakup. Carrying on, took the day off from weights after yesterday's great session, and we've uncovered the scar tissue in the lat, which I've stretched that tissue all out, which has allowed me to open up my external rotation farther, which is allowing me to break up all new scar tissue around the scapula. And it's an exhausting task. I've put little videos up that really don't. It's you got to lie on that ball, and the softball. I don't know if you guys, if you have a softball at home, get it and lie on it, on your shoulder, on your scapula, and see how horrible it feels. I am immune to any pain on this right side from the amount of work that I've done. If I put that softball on my left side, I'm a little bitch. I could barely, I'm like, oh my God, and my left side's great. It's just that there's been so much work being done in that tissue. Oh, I'm just immune to it. But you got to roll in, you got to get the ball has to I got to move my shoulder around, and the ball has to get into the crevices under the scapula at just the right angle. Then I got to maneuver, and that tissue just crackles and breaks up all around. And the more, I've gotten so much of it, but there's just keeps finding more and more and more. But what's happening is I'm getting my full movement back and my explosiveness back. And that's why I'm so motivated. I'm so excited over this. I can't stop. I was telling the therapist, I go, it's been 5 years of this. I'm mentally exhausted. I am, but I can't stop. I just go one day at a time. I don't get too caught up in anything. I just got to get as much as I can today. I'm going to wake up a little better tomorrow, and I just keep going. I keep going. I got my things to keep me busy. Thank God. Keep myself busy so I don't go stir crazy. But it's sometimes too busy, but it's better than not having anything to do. And here we are, baby. Here we are. So it's going to be a really interesting summer. Good to see all of you over here. I'd like to talk some supplements, some nutrition, health and fitness mindset, that hungry mindset. By the way, just got a message from Cody that just said, wake up full. Wake up full. That was one of my lines. Wake up full, go to bed empty, #hungry. What's going on, Rolando? Good to see all of you guys. Best wrestler in history. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I'm sure there's a group on Reddit that would disagree with that, but they disagree with everything. I'm only going to do technical wrestling when I come back. Remember that match Big Show and Kane had on Raw many, many, many years ago where they were chain wrestling and everybody was like, what the hell are they doing? I'm going to wrestle like that for the rest of my career. Just chain wrestling, arm drags, hip tosses, right into submissions. Just become a submission specialist, but a boring submission specialist. No emotions with it. Just locking in maneuvers, locking in technical holds, you know, really, really working that crowd. Hey, the dude 87 asks, hey, Ryback, is 1,400 calories healthy for a diet? It depends on your body weight. Again, a basal metabolic rate calculator is your best friend. Plug in that information online, plug in your activity level. It will give you a ballpark number that is pretty damn accurate on how many calories you need to maintain your weight. It can give you calories. There's ones that can give you calories to gain weight, calories you need to lose weight. And it will, you know, it's like anything. You gotta have a blueprint, right, of what you're doing. A lot of this stuff, unless you've been doing it for a long time, and you'll hear people, and like this is where the point that I'm at, and even then, like there'll be times when I really, really want to dial things in more. I go, okay, I got to make some adjustments, and then I'll get technical, right? But you got to know the numbers for the most part until you get going. And then you can kind of go from there. But 1,400, I can't give you a definitive answer if that's enough for you or not. Yeah, we have the feeding time video was up from a few days ago. The hot dog, the high protein vegan chili cheese dog videos is already up to 100 or something thousand views in like 3 or 4 days. What day did that go up? Monday? So I got 2 videos in the can. I just got one back. I'll probably upload one for tomorrow morning, a new feeding time, and then I'll do another one for Monday, probably Monday morning. Mondays are really, I don't want to, I wish I had the video done to go up for this morning. I don't like releasing videos on the weekend because they don't do as good on YouTube. And I don't know, I guess people just don't, the numbers aren't the same. That Monday morning video, I feel like is prime time for releasing feeding time videos. So good to see all of you guys. Let's see. Sam B asked a decent wrestling question here. Sam goes, I remember being devastated and appalled when your WrestleMania 31 and 32 matches were bumped to the kickoff shows. How did talent react to these when it happened to them at the time? I mean, nobody's ever thrilled about getting put on the kickoff matches. Outside of so I was on WrestleMania every year that I was there. Only my first year was I on the main card though, and then the next 4 I was on the pre-show, or was it the next 3 or 4, whatever it was, I was on the pre-show, the kickoff, and the last one specifically was not supposed. We were supposed to be on the card. That got changed when I didn't sign my contract. The finish of the match got changed, and then we got bumped to the pre-show. I felt bad because I knew Kalisto didn't deserve that. But there was nothing. I can't also go sign a contract and sign over everything that I ended up winning and keeping. You know what I mean? So that he could be on the main card too. It just was unfortunate, but we did good business. We went out there and it didn't affect anything performance-wise. Nothing ever would business. I've always done fantastic business. Always. Not once have I not done fantastic business with that. I don't agree with certain things, but always professional because that's what the whole business is built around. But we did good business and it was what it was. And then I had to go ahead and get out of there. But the tag match, I think, is the 31. Was that New Orleans with me and Axel? And 31 was the Battle Royal, in which we've talked about that was, and I was told that I was winning that, and then that got switched, and it was what it was. And I have no problem Big Show winning that, having that on his resume. It just was kind of again, we had some momentum going. We did a nice video leading up to it. like overcoming things, and then like it's like the story of Ryback outside of the IC title win was kind of like the build up a bunch of momentum to then lose the big one to play that role, and that's not all the time. I like again very grateful for everything. I had probably one of the best win-loss records as far as I think over long term, not during certain periods for sure. I'd lost, even though having a great win-loss record based off of that thing, I had a horrible pay-per-view record. Like this, and that's where they, you know what I mean? Which is, and that thing, wins and losses matter at the right times on that for key things. But it is what it is. All you can do as a physical actor is go out there and play your role to the best of your ability. And, you know, scripts get changed and everything last minute, but you go out there and you perform as the script calls for to the best of your abilities. And so I hit a home run on that end every single time. Super chat by Roger. Thank you very much. No chat, but just the $1. Got me a third of a large hot coffee at Starbucks. Thank you very much, buddy. Mike, the hype, says, what are your thoughts on? Yeah, this is a good question. Just a random question. What are your thoughts on marijuana? Is it good for relieving muscle stress or stress in general? Just what's your opinion? So a lot of people love it. A lot of people swear by it, by the CBD and then also the marijuana. And I've talked about it. I've done it and tried it. I don't do it though. I can't do it regularly. I'm not one to, it just kind of, I think there's different levels to it. And I see some people wake up and that do it all day, but I know those people, they're not nearly as productive as they could be. The majority of them are damn near lazy. Like lazy as shit. Now, that's not everybody. There's some people that are very functional. Potheads is Fokker. You a pothead Fokker? So everyone reacts to it a little bit differently. On look at like Rob Van Dam. I'd say who's someone who's notorious for marijuana use, and he seems to live a pretty productive, great life. He's in great shape, and so I don't know. And I don't know if I haven't done it enough, but I'm also like, I don't know. I just I think it has its purpose for certain people. And I think it's like anything. I think it's like alcohol. I think you can do it too much. I think it's easy to fall on that stuff as a crutch too much sometimes, but it's like too, if you use marijuana and it's like one of those things, what if you just use a little bit to go to bed at night, your last hour of the day where you're winding down and it just shuts off your brain? Then I'd say like that's being used in a very productive, useful manner for a purpose. Whereas some people, the wake and bake and I got to smoke all day, all night. Like now I look at that as maybe an obsessive behavior. Like, why? But again, everyone's different and everyone's going to choose to do what they want. As far as I never really, and when I did it specifically my back and shoulder, it gave me no relief. And those were my two things. And I never understood the pain thing that people talk about because I just have never felt it. Not to say I think other people have clearly. I don't think that's a made up thing. I think it's a very real thing. So I think it's just dependent on the person. And, I think if you could use it and it benefits your life and you're able to do all the things you want to do, then it's a useful tool. I think everything that's on the planet in some capacity could be used in a positive manner, one way or another, if used, exactly for the right thing at the right time. And, super chat. Let's see here. Thank you very much. That was a good question, though. Roger, thank you for the super chat. You are my most favorite wrestler of all time. Can't wait to see you on AEW. Thank you very much, Roger. Nothing has been announced on anything. And right now the goal is just to get as healthy as possible. And, I think I've been pretty clear on what I want to do. I think there's going to hopefully be some nice options. And the main thing is being healthy and being in the best shape and ready to kick ass. like I know I can. When I come back, I don't want anybody. There's going to be no questions. There's going to be no questions on like, oh, how is he? It's like people are going to know right away. Holy fuck, he's back better than ever. That's the only way it can be. And that's why I've worked so hard to keep myself within striking distance. And it's going to get, the training is going to get turned up. The moment this shoulder is where I'm really explosive again, my training is getting kicked in. I'm talking building this muscle, thick, dense-ass muscle with intent. My burpees are going to be going. I'll be doing 100 burpees most days on top of my other conditioning. Then eventually I'll get in the ring and get ready to rock and roll. And we'll see. Right now, my brain is starting creatively to get going again. And I'm watching matches a little more intently, a little more closer than I was the past couple of years. Just kind of because it was kind of painful to watch when you can't so you watch, but you don't get too involved. So my mind is starting to get a little more involved as we gear up for everything. Good question here. Thank you. Ryback, Hiago Rio says, Ryback, your bully character in 2013 had a lot of potential. You were badass. You looked a lot like the Amazing Villains old. Thank you very much. That was a fun role. And I would have liked to have seen that play out a little longer. We stopped the bully Ryback character to put me back, to put me with Paul Heyman, I believe. 100% that's what happened, because I remember Paul came up to me at a live event and told me that he'd made a pitch for me to be a Paul Heyman guy, in which I remember just being like devastated when he told me that, because I was actually getting great heat, and I already knew it was Axel. His run with Axel came to an end quicker than what he wanted. He was hoping to get a few more months out of it. They ended up kind of killing off that whole feud with Axel and Punk really quickly. And Paul desperately wanted to stay on TV. And so once again, it's kind of like that main run, red hot, get plucked out of that role, red hot babyface, getting over still, to jump right into the main event scene that was never going to be for me, to once again finally getting great heat as a bully character that took months to build. And then we're just going to stop that altogether, and for an angle that's not for me once again. And it was frustrating, because that happened quite a bit of building momentum. And that's where I kind of checked out of things from a creative process. And I was like, it is what it is. The roles are the roles, and you go out and you perform them to the best of your ability. But it sucks when you put in a lot of effort to make things work, and then they're not reciprocated. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. I don't do videos with steroid guys. The steroid guys, I stay away from all them. No offense to any of them. Wish them all the best. I don't want to mix and match. That's why you don't see me do a lot of that stuff. I'm very big on staying away from all that. Sam, thank you very much. I've recently rewatched your interviews with Chris Van Vliet. Got to be the best ever on his channel. Reckon you'll go on there again. Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, I don't really have a purpose to go on there with anything right now. So, but that first one we did really, really good. You didn't need Heyman's thick stomach. Ryback's a schmuck. I knew he was going to be a complete failure. Hello, hello. What else do we got going on? What audiobooks do I recommend? This book right here, The Plant-Based Athlete, guys. I'm about halfway through right now. This book is fantastic, by Robert Cheek. He's on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's the #1 book now. It just came out. For everybody wanting information on how to go vegan, how to incorporate a plant-based diet, this book gives you everything you need right here. I get nothing for this. The guy's a great guy. And this book, I'm learning, reading this book, it talks about everything you need. It has diets. It has the food. It has like it has recipes. I think it has over 60 recipes. Yeah, at the end here of all different things you could eat, guys. So this book right here, The Plant-Based Athlete, and I believe it's on Audible as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I played the role of the Intercontinental Champion. Robert Cheek, Cheeke. Robert Cheek and Matt Frazier, I think they were co-authors for this, but Robert Cheek. He's written many vegan books, but this is the best one, I reckon. It has a lot of examples of elite, the best athletes in the world that have been plant-based for like 15, 20, 25 years, and how all the research is just like pointing at like the future of elite athletes are going to be more and more vegan coming out. Like it's my best years are going to be as vegan as a pro wrestler. So obviously I got to back that up as far as with that, but that's the mindset going in. Yeah, good, cool. A lot of wrestling questions today. No, I don't stay in contact with Vince as well. It's one of the most disappointing things to me. And I talked to his brother, me and his brother Rod. I wish me and Vince were as close as me and Rod were, as far as being able to talk openly. Rod just never had that evil vibe with it all. Vince, I've never enjoyed his aura. It's very doing what he's done to me is so personal. Not one phone call, nothing. The fact that they've tried to sabotage everything I'm doing. It's something that I don't. How do you forgive that, right? And after everything there and the missed opportunities and the Muscle magazine stuff, things that were just no reason to. I just can't. I just got to let it go and just look forward, and I'm gonna make it all up on the back end. And I can tell you, he's one of the most, if not the most disappointing human being to me, that not living up to his full potential as a man. That would be, and I think he's done fantastic making money. I'm so disappointed in his lack of awareness and his compassion as a human being. I think he's one of the lower tier humans I've ever met on that. I don't think he's bright at all on his self-development and awareness, which is why I think you haven't seen him writing a lot of books. He's very hidden and dark, right? And based off his childhood, there's a lot of fucked up stuff with him. And like, I'm just disappointed in him. I wish he was half as good as Rod, man. I really, he hasn't reached out. Nothing, man. Broke my back, gave everything. His shit doctors pumped me full of drugs that ate away my fucking shoulder. Not one of those motherfuckers, man. Just disappointed, right? And I've just moved on. I fixed myself. It's all my fault. I worked there. My fault. Move on. Hey, Ryan, been following your career since Tough Enough, and boy, what a ride. And that famous clip with the Big Show, was that a shoot? And could you tell us any behind the scenes stories of Paul? So the deal you're talking about is on $1 Million Tough Enough. We, the contestants, were brought to SmackDown, so the first few weeks of these things, we were told nothing. And that was, I think, the first week there, or the second week, right? It was right in the beginning. I think it was the first week. Yeah, it was. If I'm not, because they had us. I remember that day we get there to the arena, and all the wrestlers, everybody already. I mean, nobody gives a shit about any of us involved in this. And why? And I know now from being there and being hired and being on the road and sacrificing everything. And you got guys that are on the road for weeks at a time or all week. And, then you got a group of young, jacked up kids coming in there fighting for, at the time, $1 million contract, which none of the 90% of the roster up there is not making great money. And the money was really bad from what I understand for a lot of the guys during that time. I remember Al and Bill DeMott telling us what some of the guys were making and how they, like, which I understand now. a lot of the mid card and down. It wasn't great with the road expenses and all that. But they told us we could not touch the superstars. We could not be confrontational with them. That we were just there just to go along with it, which was like, okay. And so they filmed. The first scene was all of us walking into the locker room, where I think it was Big Show cut the promo on everybody. And then, so the first thing that happens is like Pewter stands all weird anyways. Like he was all like bowed up or whatever, but Show says something and like shoves him. And we're just like, well, what the hell's going on here? So wait, they're allowed to hit us, but we're just supposed to stay here. And it was just odd. It wasn't, but they were trying to capture like reality TV in a non-reality setting where it wasn't full reality. And it was, you know what I'm saying? So then we were told we're going to go to the ring and we got to cut a promo on the fly. Like right before we go, they're like, you got to each cut a 30-second promo or whatever it was. And so it's in like, because they're just seeing, they were just wanting it to be, I think, as big of a train wreck as possible. It was all to pop Vince and just to put people in weird situations. But the problem is Vince was using it to put his superstars in weird situations, which is very dangerous when you have a lot of money invested in those guys. Like they had no money invested in us, so who cares what happens to us during that time? So we all cut our promos. I'm the Silverback Ryan Reeves, the Vanilla Gorilla. Who knows? Just all I knew was I remember in my head, I go, like I knew from just being a lifelong wrestling fan, I go, there's no doubt after Big Show in the locker room and then cutting a promo on Big Show's going to come out and interrupt us at some point. Like they didn't tell us that. I just knew that based off wrestling psychology 101 of like at the most basic level. And then like Nick Mitchell, like guys were like Nick Mitchell shit on him and like saying he hasn't seen like crap piled that high. So then we're out there and Big Show's cutting a promo and he's just talking. And I just remember thinking, like, I don't know what we're going to do, but he says he's going to body slam each and every one of us. So something in my head is telling me just like, take off your shirt and get in his face. And I just did it completely on the fly. And looking back, because then Big Show, I think he could tell I wasn't disrespectful in any way or anything. And then he just picked me up and body slammed me. That was my first wrestling bump, by the way. We had done no training at that point. Outside, the training started like that week. And so like that was my first bump. None of us had taken a bump yet. And then like I sold it over their line, but like then he like slapped the shit out of Nick Mitchell and then dropped a knee on a couple of the guys. I'm like, man, I got through. I legit take off my shirt and get in his face. And I got away with just a body slam because too, none of us, that's why you saw nobody did anything back. We were specifically told like we would be, if we did anything, we were done. So we got nobody. I mean, he could have punched me in the face. I'm going to just lie there. I'm not going to touch him back because I don't want to ruin the opportunity. That was hammered home prior to all this, but we were also under the impression that nobody was going to touch us. So it was a good time. It was a good time. Not really a good time, but it was crazy looking back. Son of Sammy Davis, you were the first one to volunteer for the slam. That is correct. Yeah, Big Show was my first bump in pro wrestling now that I think about it. Which is absolutely insane. My first wrestling training bump in wrestling was getting slammed by the Big Show. Oh, holy shit. Put that on the Wikipedia. But think about that. How hard is that on the Big Show? Slamming guys. If you watch, none of us outside of the Miz is probably the only one that even posted for him. None of us had even been taught that literally had not done anything with a body slam, with anything bumping. So it's like, he's just picking up like rag dolls, wet noodles the whole time on guys. none of us knew to do the deal and post going up and to help make it easier. And so poor Big Show's just getting blown up, and Vince is probably dying laughing at it. So after I think like week 3, I think they realized they started like making it much more scripted, as far as we still had no like clue majority of time on anything and everything. But like it was, I think for the superstars under contract, they had a little bit better, I guess, protection from some of the stuff. Like the Basham brothers, they were told legit if any of us got that flag, which I got the closest, I think almost got it. Which I got lucky, my shorts were going to get ripped off. That was nuts to get the flag naked. They were told though that if any of us got the flag, they were going to be fired. Like looking back at that, I go, man, I was big, jacked up, 285 pounds, 22 years old. Those guys and were blown up after just doing that one time trying to fight. They had to fight off. Man, we had Rodeheimer in that Justice. Pewter was a big, strong guy. Me in there, like even Miz is strong. Like that's having to shut down 7 or 8 guys in a row. Man, those guys, and they probably didn't get paid any extra, I would bet, for any of that. That was, I feel for them, man, having to be put in that position. Crazy times. How often did Vince change the script when I was wrestling? The craziest, latest one was as me as heel Ryback in the ambulance, which I've talked about. They changed the promo multiple times. The promo that I kicked off Raw coming out on the ambulance and had to get out and stand on the ambulance and cut a promo. So I had like pages of dialogue that got changed like 2 or 3 times in the day, and I got it late to begin with. So I'm like, this is, I think at the time, they were giving me some pretty long promos and all this, which we were hitting it out of the park. We were good. This one, they changed the entire thing. I'm in the office with Vince and the 2 writers. They're changing the whole thing. We're 30 minutes before Raw goes live, and Vince and they're trying to come up with the bullet points. I already know now at this my point. I go, this has to be a rib. There's just no way this could be this crazy. I get it 5 minutes before we go out. They give me pages, 5 minutes, pages of bullet points, 3 or 4 pages of like all these bullet points. And I just go, boom, 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 boom. I'm just going to have to just go out and start talking and it was probably my favorite promo outside of the Positive Secret one, but that one is a heel. And, because it was just, I got to just go off, and Vince ended up loving it. And but that was the most freedom I had because I had no choice. There was no memorizing that at that point. It was, what are the bullet points? Connect the dots as I'm out there. I was in the ambulance with my phone with 5 minutes to go. They're driving the ambulance into position. It's pitch black in the back. I'm using my phone to look at the notes. I leave the pages in the back, and then I get out, open the doors, and get up there, and then just start winging it. I knew the direction I had to go for it, and so there were no hiccups or anything on that. But I'm pretty sure I attacked fat people on that. That's usually one of my go-tos. If I attack fat people, get heat. Oh no, what's my next line? Just talk shit about fat people. They'll boo that. Good to see all of you. Thank you. Yes, I refer in my feeding time videos to the negative people. Karen is the negative complainer, female complainer, and Jeffrey is the negative male complainer. You got to just pick names for it. I apologize to everyone that is a good person that is named Jeffrey and Karen. I understand it's not fair, but we also do need names for them. So it is what it is. So for me, it's Karen and Jeffrey are the two negative names. Yeah, Jeffrey with a J, not Jeffrey like the Toys R Us Jeffrey. Yeah, Walter, that was I was so shy and timid back then on being like respectful too, where like I got much more aggressive once like after I was just in like had no everything just happened so fast on that. I really I like that that was I'm glad I didn't get it, to be honest, because those guys would have been fired, I think, and I wouldn't have felt good if that was the case. They were fighting for their lives, but man, those guys are big, strong dude. The Basham brothers aren't like those are two big, strong dudes. Those guys came from OVW and the Brock Lesnar crew with all them and the Shelton Benjamins. Like they were down there in the Batista. Those guys were big and jacked, man. As always, the Ryback Show is brought to you by Feed Me More Nutrition, guys, on feedmemore.com. Right now, guys, all Feed Me More supplements are available on feedmemore.com. We will be getting the Shell Shock Extreme Fat Burner. We're waiting for that's going to be shipping out next week. And then I got to get it sent to testing. And then we'll be uploading that to Amazon with one. We're going to have one new seller that is going to be trying to get the supplements into the top positions. But please buy all supplements on feedmemore.com in the meantime. What is it like in the gorilla position? It's actually a very nice, calm. It's actually quite spacious for the majority of arenas because they make that you walk in. They'll usually have they changed the design of it at some point early on up there, and then it stayed pretty consistent. And everything, by all accounts, I've seen it's remained fairly similar. So there's usually kind of an entranceway. There might be some steps depending on the arena. And then like kind of a long little, not a long walk, but kind of like a hallway of curtains. And then it opens into the big square of gorilla position. On your left-hand side, usually, sometimes it would be, if it was designed weird, it would be set up different. But the most of the time it was set up with the monitors of Vince on the left-hand side, where it'd be like Vincent Hunter or Road Dogg or whoever was by Vince for the majority of the shows over there. And Vince was always on the very far side over there. Then there'd usually be like a water cooler with waters in there, maybe some Gatorades, which I would always try to bring cold waters in, but sometimes couldn't find them. I'd just take them out of there. There'd be a trash can all the way at the far back right. There'd be monitors. Vince and them had their monitors, the TVs, and then there would be a table like straight as you walk in, connected to those on the left, where like Billy Kidman and usually a referee would sit, where Billy would do the times, and I don't know who they have doing all that now. And then on the far right front is the curtain to go through, right where you walk out to go out into to the arena. It's just a curtain and you go right, you're right there. And again, sometimes if it's a pay-per-view, it would be kind of designed a little different, but always kind of similar. And then they're always on the far right wall would be the monitor, and usually talent would go in there. It was always kind of understood, like you don't just go hang out in there unless your match is up next. Or you're involved in one way or another in that, so that it didn't ever get too crowded. Most of the time, guys were great with that because there's monitors to watch. There would be monitors outside of Gorilla. There'd be monitors in a catering or sometimes in the locker room. Like, so you wouldn't have to there was never always didn't have to hang out up there unless you were involved. And usually it always is like the match before you go get ready, you go up there the match before. Plus two, if they need to tell you, it's always good to get up there the match before. One, kind of the routine I did, because when you do TV, the times change. This is one thing people don't understand about doing live TV on the wrestlers. It's not like doing live events or other thing. Your times are getting adjusted almost always. So you have to be very, very good at going out there and adjusting. I'm talking like you would have stuff planned, right? You don't have an understanding of what you're going to go out there and do. Say you're being told you have a 12-minute match. So I'd go up there the match before, and then I go to Billy. I go, where are we at? Like, how are you guys doing on time? I would always ask Billy, how's the show doing on time? Because Billy that guy, he had to keep track of everything and shave off. He would be responsible for figuring out where to cut minutes from the show so that the main event always had as much of their time as normal. That was kind of always the flow of the show. Times get cut, or if people go over, you never really want to go over, because now you're taking away time that they designated for other things, which I always took pride in hitting my times as close as possible with that, so you don't take away from what other people are expecting. And there'd be times, I kid you not, I'd be up there, the match before would go over 5, 6, 7 minutes. That would get cut, where Billy would be cool. Billy wouldn't just take it all out of R. He'd be like, what can you do? I go, you 2, 3, like, you'd go, okay, I could do that. And like, you're like negotiating up there before you go out on what you're going to go out there and go do. And that's why it's good to get up there the match before too. So that way in your head, and like, okay, we're going to have to cut this and this, and we're going to go right to this. And, that's why oftentimes on TV matches, things will seem rushed. It's talent having to rush to get to a spot before they go to break, so that they have they hit their times. And it's not like everything's like that's live TV. It's the one skill that the fans have no concept of how good the wrestlers actually are. And you have to, that's something that is learned, and some people are a lot better at than others. So Gorilla also would have act and react, and usually intensity were the two things that were on the wall. Act and react and intensity. And that's to go out there and live in the moment, and intensity sells. And that's why Vince loves intensity. And that's why I believe intensity made me my money. It's the one thing you need to succeed. Excuse me. Appreciate all of you guys joining me here for this. Trying to see what other we're going to go ahead and block. We got to block our first person here. I was not with WWE at the time of the Chris Benoit stuff. Congratulations, Jeff, on your first leg day. Why I did yeah, if your legs are just you're just not in shape. The condition, you gotta build up your endurance and your stamina. Legs are the one thing that really, I know for me, like if you take a little time off, like after my stem cell procedures, legs are the one thing that fatigue the fastest. And I got huge legs. I got huge calves. They suck up a ton of blood and oxygen. So I got to keep my legs always super, super sharp. I always, on legs days, I do a ton of Hindu squats as well. I actually got that from Benoit and built them up. The Hindu squats are a fantastic tool for wrestlers to keeping your legs in condition so they don't get tired during matches. I did enjoy my run with the Nexus. I was really unfortunate. I was devastated. I feel greatly responsible for the group not having as much. I was very involved in that. As you know, when I do things, I'm very, but it was everything happened that was supposed to happen. I felt very bad on my injury and not being a part of that anymore. but I think the writing was on the wall. Had I not gotten injured, my whole WWE career would have. Well, I mean, it would have been different in a lot of ways. But I would have been Skip Sheffield, unfortunately, and I don't know. That was not a name I wanted to keep outside of the original character. And I think it would have just been Cena runs through each member individually like he did. The group breaks up. And I think it just would have been, I don't see it being nearly as good as Ryback at all in any way, shape, or form. And I still needed to learn a few things, lesson wise, attitude wise, as far as having a chip on my shoulder. I was too nice. I was far too nice. And I'm very nice still, but in the wrestling business, you got to know when and where to speak up. And I learned that through my ankle injury really, really quickly. A very expensive lesson to learn. Kevin Dunn. I always got along with Kevin. Kevin was always nice to me. I don't know how he was when I wasn't around. I would listen on the headset. A lot of the production people I got along with really well. They would let me listen to what Vince and Kevin Dunn would talk about, and they would shit talk guys a lot. And I just remember, and I think while they were out there, they would shit talk guys on the headset. And I always just remember thinking, I just didn't understand it. Why are you shit talking the people that are making you billions of dollars? I don't know. But that's their company. That's what they do on that stuff. But they have extremely difficult jobs, no doubt. But Kevin was always nice to me, to my face. I don't know how much creative influence. Obviously, I mean, he's heavily involved. So he's heavily involved. Thank you very much. You got to turn negatives into positives. It's the only way. That's why we got to know who and what we are. We got to set our goals. And regardless of people are going to talk, no matter what we do, people are going to love us. That's why I say just be ourselves. And oftentimes people will make up lies to hate you, which I've experienced that too. And I just whatever you need to do to tell yourself, if that makes you feel better, it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And if you haven't figured that out, the fact that you can't just leave me alone, it's very telling. But I'm a big believer. I think it's a great thing to be able to. I'm loved and hated, and I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing, because the people that hate, they are easily manipulated, and that hate can be turned into love very quickly, and because they have feelings for it. What you don't want is where people are indifferent and have no emotional attachment either way. I can get both ends of that. And that far left negative side can be brought to the right like that. And you'll see, we'll save that for a future show at the right time. But I know, and that's too, and I talk about this. Look at pro sports, LeBron James and Tom Brady and anybody. Anytime those guys post, go look and see how much these guys can post anything, and guys are just shit talking them, how bad they suck, they're not great. There's people that tell Tom Brady he's 0-10 or he's never won a Super Bowl. This is the world we live in. The key is, no matter what we do, that hate and negativity, those shit talkers, it's fuck them, smash them, block them, keep doing our thing, try to focus on the positives. Never let them take away from our work on our goals and what we're doing. But we got to turn it's becoming aware of our negative thoughts and using that as positive fuel. And it's all part of that hungry mindset. But that's where self-awareness and learning and reading about other people that have dealt with hate, successful people that have just great athletes, great people with great stories, mindset, law of attraction, all of this stuff ties in, good to see all of you. Hello, hello. See, what do we got going on Instagram? Good to see all my Instagram friends over here. Thank you very much. You're missing me in the ring. I appreciate that. We're on the right track, though. We're on the right track. Let's see here. If you're feeling super fatigued after a workout, you got to make sure you're consuming adequate calories. You got to look. I train very, very hard, and I have energy all day. And typically, my nutrition is very on point. If you're feeling that fatigued and your body is giving up on you, there's stuff that you're not doing right. I would say that you got to get your nutrition side of things under control. Let's see, what do we got? Try to see what if you're 19, the protein, the ISO Hungry plant powered caramel cookie, the 10 count creatine would be a nice little stack. Maybe the Finish It branch chain amino acid electrolyte matrix as well. No, guys, as far as the WWE structure, typically guys like Moxley and that stuff weren't even more, everyone was treated, nobody outside of really John, everyone, Roman at the time, nobody was treated any different. It's all kind of the same process on everything. It's just creatively guys are used. It's like when I was used in a certain capacity, it's all pretty similar on that end of stuff. India, how's it going? Trying to see if we got any other good. Can you lose fat and gain muscle at the same time? Typically, you're gonna go one direction or the other. I think you can lose fat and tone up, but as far as actually gaining significant muscle tissue while you're burning body fat, and your calories are under your base level, outside of when people that are using, massive amounts of drugs and things of that nature, you typically, if you do, it's very minimal. Or if you're like, especially too, if you're well trained already, I think too, though, when you're first starting out, I think you can make very explosive, big gains when you're first starting training. And, but it depends, somebody that, is 350 pounds and, severely overweight, and they've never done any training, and they just decide I'm going to just start weight training and doing conditioning and cardio. I'm going to do these Ryback workouts. And they build themselves up. They're going to see the results are going to be, just enormous on that if you really go all in. Thank you very much for the compliment from the Red Pill Vegan sent me over. Thank you, Super Stroke. I try to just be myself, and I'd learned through some great people when I saw like a lot of the hate and lies and negativity and things, and people were forming very strong negative opinions about me. I learned that I have to just continue to put out my content and just show people what the people that know me already know. And I get messages. I got a long message the other day, actually, from somebody apologizing once again for hating me and believing the lies. And then they decided to watch and gave it a chance and realized the things that they read were not true. That happens a lot more than people would think. And it's just, it is what it is. I don't even reply back, just delete. I'm thankful for it, but I don't, regardless of whatever, it doesn't affect what I'm doing. I'm just like, man, I look at that too with people. If you want to get distracted on stuff, You know, man, I can't imagine, like, if there's something I don't like or see, I don't follow it. I don't read about it. I just stay away from it, you know, but not everyone thinks like that. So, but I appreciate the positive support, man, and just trying to, you know, I enjoy helping people with things that have helped me and do good business. Capitalism for good is what the world needs more of. I firmly believe. Yeah, flatline. Do I have anything in the Feed Me More Nutrition line that helps with joint pain? Our 1-2-3 muscle joint tendon is a fantastic formula. We have a turmeric for muscle inflammation, supercisis for tendon and tendon inflammation, and cetyl myrrostoliate for arthritis and joint pain. And that's why it's called 1-2-3 for muscle, joint, and tendon. And I think it's the most complete formula for people that are suffering from muscle aches and joint pain. And I could tell you, having full blown arthritis in my shoulder, I don't have any actual symptoms of joint pain in my joint of anything like that. And I've been taking this stuff for many, many years, outside of just my scar tissue stuff that we're breaking up. But I also recommend for people to use turmeric, powdered turmeric, and just use it on your meals a couple times a day as well. Really, really, you can go pretty heavy on that stuff. Really helps eliminate inflammation. Super chat. Any new flavors of Wake Up Limited Energy coming? It's the best product and use it every day. Thanks. Also, can't wait to see you back in the ring. Thank you very much, the luau. And yeah, eventually down the line, this stuff we're in deep with all this, and I want to expand the line as much as possible. I'm waiting to hear back on some things. I want to set up a call with distribution and revisit that and see if I have to adjust my price points at all to get that deal done. And I think too, right now, excuse me, that is with everything going on and getting my shoulder ready and how hard I'm going, it's going to be in getting back to TV ready at some point. I think that the floodgates are going to open. It is, and having my business it's such a priority for me. I think in the next year, you're going to see a lot of growth in all areas of the company. So yeah, and I mean, I want as many flavors that we could do for every product. It's like I said, we're in pretty deep, and we sell a very, very good amount of this stuff. So the ordering aspect of things, anytime I do a new flavor, it's a massive chunk of cash that leaves the company with that. And like, again, I got to stay on top of all this and have the inventory of reports. Just got one earlier, a couple hours ago. I got to go over. So I look and see, like, okay, when do I got to do my reorders? And the COVID has been too a little difficult because my reorder times are 10 to 12 weeks, and they used to be 4 weeks, which I don't like. And I've talked about it, but I have no control over it. So I think as things normalize, that will help too with the speed of some certain things as well. But I'm coming out. We got our 2 sweet insulin optimizer glucose support. That'll be supplement number 13. So, and then, like I said, coming out some other flavors on the other things. And then the Wake Up will be next. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if John Cena comes back at SummerSlam. I don't know what's wrong with my talking. I've done so many videos this week. John obviously is always worked really hard and has always been in great shape. I think he's definitely aged, and his look has changed a bit, obviously probably for some of the roles that he's playing. I think it's gonna be quite the challenge for John, which I don't think he shies away from a challenge at all. I think Roman's on top of his game, and John coming back, if he's coming back for just one match, or is he coming back for like a 6-month or a year run? I don't see John stepping away from the Hollywood momentum for too long, because that is I mean, a lot of money, far more than pro wrestling, I would say, especially if he's not coming back full time. So it'll be interesting to see what the creative and everything is. And John, I think his look has changed a little bit. And I don't know, he's in his 40s, but there was like kind of a jump in how he's aged, I feel, from when he left wrestling, or the last just few years in general. I thought he looked young for the longest time and stayed. I thought he always stayed on top of it. And then all of a sudden it looked like he just, I mean, it's with everyone, we're all going to age, but it just seemed like it was a big jump. So I don't know. But I mean, the guy, he's never going to shy away from a challenge. Yeah, some people need to utilize Google and answer their own questions. I am always baffled by that. Sometimes I go, you guys know there is just Google as well. But I understand people do just want thoughts and opinions on certain things. But Google can definitely clear up a little bit of space in this chat. Venezuela, good to see you. What do I recommend for bicep tendonitis? Outside of, that's something you got to give it time to rest. And those things can be really, really painful. I think putting like the pain relieving creams, the Tiger Bombs or the Icy Hot, and doing things in I think getting one of those massage guns, those powerful massage guns, and getting work done on it, or getting body work where people can dig in and really, something like that. I think it'd be beneficial to take a couple weeks off and then start back training very light, or you got to really scale back your training and not aggravate it and see if you can't get it to go away. But that would be my approach to it. Fighting through it is never going to be an answer or a solution, especially long term. It's not just going to go away if you keep aggravating it. So, but I think those creams could definitely help a little bit. And again, a lot of turmeric in the 1, 2, 3 muscle joint tendon that we have. I think that would be very helpful as well. And running 2 or 3 bottles of that and seeing if it doesn't, at the maximum dosage on that, and seeing if it helps cut that back. But I still think you're going to need to take a little time off. Super chat, Mr. Ryback, what are your thoughts on Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic? I love him. I've always gotten along very well with Rey. And I think that is a really cool thing that him and his son get to wrestle together. It's not something you see every day. And the fact that they're getting to tag, I think it's going to be it's special for both of them. And I think there's some really good business that could be done down the road with that storyline. And I think the writing it will be on the wall. It's inevitable. I think Dominic turning on his father at some point is very good TV if they invest in the time like they did with the Roman and Paul deal in that angle. I think that is really, really good down the line once Dominic is more established at some point, and you keep them together, and because then it just makes that moment that much better when it does happen. Hardest bump I've ever taken was probably the ambulance bump, going through the ambulance, because I banged my elbow on part of the thing going down from where I was dropped. The cutout was very narrow, and I went through it, broke through it as well, and landed. They had the padding and stuff in the ambulance, So that part wasn't so bad. But hitting that ambulance on impact, and my elbow blew up instantly. I had to go I think we drained my elbow, or it was swollen. I had like a real big elbow for like a couple weeks. And it just, because it literally hit the top of the ambulance going through. There was something I just remember like, damn, my elbow. All right, guys. Yeah, Las Vegas is extremely hot, 114 degrees today. I'm actually going to go do my laps now while the sun's still out, get a little bit of sun, a little vitamin D, and then go hit the shower after I did my cardio hour earlier. And I was supposed to do the sauna, and LVAC, though, there's rules. You can't, because it's a co-ed. It's not like the EOS one I go to that has it in the men's bathroom. And I think you got to you're supposed to, I think you got to put all your stuff in the locker, and you're not supposed to, you got to have flip flops or barefooted. You can't go in there with your shoes. And I was just like, oh, I didn't have a locker or anything. I just buy one for the house. But I'll make sure I do the sauna when I go to EOS Fitness this weekend. So, but yeah, other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap up. I got to get a little bit more work done here tonight after I do my laps in the pool and do more scar tissue work. And it looks like we'll hopefully be able to have time to do a Ryback, the Ryback show tomorrow as well. If not, I'll make sure try to do it on Sunday. So Feed Me More Nutrition, feedmemore.com. Check out all the free blog content that we have on there. You could save up to 35% with our spin and win wheel. You can win free gym bags, free half-gallon jugs, guys, and discounts of 25, 30, and 35%. Or sign up for our email and text message alerts where you just get one big saving every week, exclusive only to the members of that. We give you 25% for each of those for signing up to those as well, guys. So lots of ways to save right now on Feed Me More Nutrition. And other than that, have a great night and stay hungry, my friends. Feed me more.